Alrighty everyone, welcome back. Game number 4 here between Idra and TT1. We are right now in the situation where Idra is ahead 2-1, so TT1 has got some coming back to do. And here we are this time on Tal'Darim Altar, and we can see TT1 spawning here in the upper right position here as our blue Protoss player, and here in the bottom right is Idra as our green Zerg player. So yes, Idra winning the last game. A pretty phenomenal play with him. Something... gosh, I may have seen something like this in the beta, but it has been a very long time since I saw a crazy fast Nidus Worm like that. So great play by Idra. He hit TT1 after Forge fast expanding and moving into Gateway heavy. Idra managed to hit TT1 before his gateways, besides the initial one as wall off, had finished warping in. This allowed his Speedlings and Hydras to just tear through everything that TT1 had. So great win there by Idra. That was pretty phenomenal play, but let's not focus on the past and let's talk about this game here. It looks like TT1 again with the Forge Fast expand. Again, I've mentioned it before, can't blame him. Very strong opening build, typically very safe, but we've seen Idra kind of exploit that quite a bit now. And this is the kind of evolution that I love in the game as things progress. You know, pros and players get so comfortable, any race gets comfortable with a certain build against a race until someone throws a monkey wrench into the mix, and we saw some strong roach aggression early game. We saw that fast Nidus for the Hydra Speedling right in the main base there from Idra, and those two things obviously completely counteract the Forge Fast expand from TT1. So just loving that, loving the innovation and the way things progress over time. Idra not being scouted out quite as of yet, feeling comfortable to come out with that hatchery first. I had mentioned last game that it looked like Idra was trying to go hatch first, but seeing that probe scout canceled it, or stopped doing that, and decided to then go for pool extractor first. But this game, not being scouted out too quickly, Idra decided hatch first is safe, then coming out with that pool and extractor after the fact. Although right now he obviously is being scouted by TT1, TT1 is aware that Idra has decided to go for that quick expansion, so we'll keep an eye over here. Obviously, next thing I expect is that that Nexus, but where is it? He's getting a little bit late on this, unfortunately. I think he was a little bit distracted by microing around his worker here inside of Idra's base, so this Nexus a little bit later than it could have been, and we should be seeing that Gateway and Forge sometime soon there as well. So let's keep a close eye on what TT1 decides to do from this point forward. Obviously, he could be a little bit concerned. I mean, Idra could obviously still do that that Nidus tactic inside of the main base of TT1, and it probably could still be pretty effective. So we'll have to keep an eye as to what TT1 decides to do after that Cybernex core finishes. He could move into Stargate play. You do see that from time to time with that opening Forge Fast expand. Opening up with some Phoenixes and Void Rays can certainly be very strong. Obviously, also, Idra kind of been a wild card in this series, been doing all sorts of different things, hasn't really stuck to one consistent strategy, and I'm really liking that. Really happy to see Idra try to be very diverse and try these different tactics in these games, especially when he's coming up against the same thing every time. It's very easy and very comfortable for players when seeing the same thing from their opponent to just go with what they're going and just rely on the fights and drops and just move into the macro game. But Idra has been proving himself to be very strong and very effective at that early game aggression, and it certainly makes for a good, well-rounded player. Now Zergling's chasing down that probe, staying just out of the range of that cannon. Did take one shot though, needs to be careful not to get a second because that will kill him unless he regenerates some of that health. But chasing down that probe, the probe of TT1 will try to retreat though back to that cannon. There we go. We did see TT1 pull back there and try to lure the Zergling of Idra into the cannon fire, but Idra, paying quite enough attention, was able to prevent that from happening. We'll be seeing a couple more Zerglings coming out from Idra. Given the sheer size of this map, just those two not going to be enough for the early game scouting information and denying scouting from your opponent. So probably see those other two looking to search out for scouting probes and to try to grab some of those towers. Now we're going to see a Stalker come out right now. TT1's going to decide to rally that on the inside though, so those will not be used. That will not be used to chase down those Zerglings. Back over here for Idra, what does he have going on? Looks like he is droning up quite hard. Has got a second and third extractor coming out as well, just really relying on that economy. He does also have that layer coming out, notably no Roach Warren here as well, so maybe that Nidus work play again. It is certainly possible. We did see that pretty quick layer before the Roach Warren last game as well, and that's what he chose to do, but I don't expect him to do the same thing twice, just because if that does get scouted, or if TT1 expects it, he can easily stop it from happening by just making sure he's checking the edges of his bases and spotting if that Nidus network is coming on through. We have a quick Twilight Council, very fast charge upgrade for TT1. will be going super Zealot heavy and trying to just tear through Idra's early game Speedlings and Roaches with those charged Zealots. So let's see how effective that is. Keep an eye out too if he's going to be coming out with some level upgrades to coincide with that. Here are those additional gateways. Obviously, he will be sitting gateway heavy. Now we are seeing a Hydra Den come down, so let's look to see if Idra decides to drop that Nidus again. You know, I don't expect it, but it is possible, so we will keep an eye out to see precisely what he decides to do. What is this? It is Idra 2 times with the Nidus network. He's doing it again. He don't care. Even if TT1 expects it, he is fully prepared to give it a shot anyway. Take a look at TT1's vision. Has got pretty good vision of his base right now. You can see, besides a few corners, he is pretty much fully aware of what's going on. Idra could try to warp in right here, and that might do the trick. I'm sorry, could try to morph in that Nidus network over there, but here come the Speedlings and the Roaches. Also those group spines that upgrade for that Hydralisk as well. I call them Roaches. The Hydras and the Speedlings coming through for Idra, and Idra is getting ready to do it again. Now we do have that charge upgrade, has just finished, and we have got so many gateways sitting with 7, and that is number 8 right there. So 8 gate, super charge lot heavy. Let's see how this goes. Oh man, this is a little bit scary. Charge lots, of course, do pretty well against Speedlings and Roaches. Hopefully he's prepared. And there we go. I completely missed it. The Nidus network in the back there. We'll be hitting those resources first. There's that Queen. Pretty much the same composition. Pretty Speedling heavy. Few Roaches in the mix as well. Now here come the charge lots. Charge lots, again, very strong against Speedlings and those Hydras if they can get up close enough. We're going to see those workers try to move forward as well. Those obviously, those Zealots will be trying to engage. Nothing going on back at Idra's base. All the action here is in back of TT1's base, and TT1 losing all mining here from his main will be forced to retreat to that natural expansion. We've got a lot of charged Zealots coming on forward though, but we're seeing some nice positioning here. Idra trying to keep those Hydras in a tight wedge spot to stop those stop the Zealots from getting too close and being able to get a surround there. You can see kind of wedging his units in between those resources. That cuts back on the amount of damage that those charged Zealots can do, and it looks like these Hydras are prevailing, tearing through those Zealots before they even get a chance to do any damage. And TT1 going with what was looked to be a raffle, and then just calling the GG. Once more, TT1 opened up with a Forge Fast Expand, to which Idra was fully aware. And in an attempt to repeat last game's performance, we did see Idra come out with that fast layer going Hydra and Nidus network. Idra was able to again sneak that Nidus into TT1's main just before those gateways finished, and with this getting right at that resource line was able to tear through TT1's economy, and again this push was just way too strong. Now this time we did actually see TT1 open up with those quick charge lots, but unfortunately for him those Zealots were not able to optimize their damage because we did see Idra with some nice unit placement, wedging those Hydralisks right in between the minerals and stopping the Zealots from being able to get us around. They were able to just demolish them before they could even get within range. So what a game between these two players, a pretty much complete repeat of what we saw last game. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this series. It looks like Idra did prevail, winning out over TT1. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks again, guys. Keep watching and keep owning.